for me, when people think about my career or me as a person, they always, call me Linsanity. And they're like, Linsanity, oh, that moment, that stretch in New York. And if I was to be real, I don't even like saying this answer because it's like, it's such a downer. But like, what's the one thing, if someone asks me, what's the one thing you learned from Linsanity? Really, the one thing I learned from Linsanity is that success is not all that everyone thinks it is. I mean, I had a dream, and Linsanity was that times like 5. Like, even in my wildest dreams, I would never have been able to dream of Linsanity the way that it happened. And I still remember in the moment, like, and I've shared the story before, but like maybe the first week was just like euphoria, and I was just like on cloud 9. The second week was pretty crazy too. But then by the third week, I started, even before games, like I couldn't sleep. I had that anxiety inside of me because it was like you said, it's like you achieve something and then you're just trying to hold on to it. And it's like you think that it ends and you think that your desire to achieve and your ambition will just all of a sudden go away. It doesn't. It's like no matter what happens, you'll always set a new goal, a new standard, a new objective. And the truth about that is that like if you just spend your whole life chasing that next thing, you're going to live your life riding the highs and lows of whether you get that next thing. But even when you get that next thing, even when you get everything that you thought you wanted, you're going to realize it's not enough. And that is the one thing I learned from Linsanity that like I wish I could tell every single person. It's like you might think, man, if I was only like beautiful like so-and-so, then my world would be perfect. No, if only I had money like so-and-so, if only I had this car, or if only I had a family that looked like this, or a house that, and it's like, yeah, at some point, man, like anything that this world can offer is going to be fleeting. It's going to be empty. And that's why, to me, like Linsanity had to force me to look at my faith at a deeper level and be like, okay, well, when I'm like really right, when my relationship with God is right, I don't feel this desire, like I don't feel a void in my heart. And that's, I mean, that sounds cliche, but
no, yeah,
it's true, man.
It's true. That's why it sounds cliche, because it's true. It's like, yo, this is such a real thing.
I felt so much weight that I had so much anxiety that I couldn't eat or sleep properly. And, I struggled with that. And I'm talking like, I mean, it was killing me at some points, and I'd be in tears before games. I'd be crawled up, like no energy, just in a fetal position in bed, like couldn't even get out of bed, just crippled with that anxiety because I felt the weight of it. And even for me through my career, even when things didn't go well, I always felt like I was letting people down. I'll question myself. I ask myself, well, I made all this history, first Asian American to do this or that or whatever, first Harvard player, da 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 da. And it was like, there were all these records and these things, but at the end of the day, I felt like I didn't deserve it because, I felt like I had let so many people down. And I think, one of the most freeing things and restorative things for me was to let go of the result. And almost like let go of the result even before you know what's going to happen to some degree, right? Like, it's like, hey, I'm on this journey and I can find success in a journey today, here, right now, in the present. And if I can learn how to do that, and if I can learn really how to be like, to embrace and cherish each day, each moment, I mean, that is tremendous success. And again, it's almost like what ends up happening down the road, it's not going to kill me one way or the other if I have my priorities right. And I think about like these young, I hear stories of these young couples, especially, coming from immigrant parents, and these young couples who are just completely in love. And they're like, and they, for example, my parents, when they first got married, they had to go fish at a dam, and that's how they ate because they didn't have any money. And so they would fish, and they would go once every 2 weeks and get all these fish. And I'm like, man, but in the moment they were so in love and they enjoyed life. And yeah, they didn't have the perfect house, they didn't have the cars, they didn't have all their degrees yet, they didn't have their children. But in that moment, they were so happy with what they had. And it's like, that's how I want to live my life, no matter where I'm at or what I'm going through. It's like, if I can find that joy in that moment, I feel like that will allow me to alleviate the pressures and the weights of what everyone else is thinking, even the pressures that I put on myself. And that to me has been one of the most restorative things, because right now I'm going for my NBA comeback. And what is nice about it is that, like, I don't feel the weight of, I mean, I do feel the weight, but it's not crushing me like it used to, in terms of like, if I don't do this, then so-and-so won't like me anymore. If I don't do this, then my followers will go down or whatever. It's like I'm able to free myself of that, and there's a liberation that comes with that gives me a lightness in my everyday. So instead of me stressing out and being in the gym, I mean, I was in the gym all morning, but instead, like, I can sit here and talk about it with you openly and be like, we're talking about it right now. But like, and that's how you know it's like, okay, it probably isn't weighing on me the way that these things used to weigh on me.
That's good. Oh my goodness, that's good, bro. I mean, we don't have a lot of time left, but I want to thank you, man. I want to like let you know, give you your flowers while you're still here. Like, you represent so much more than, like, you know, your career highlight reel. You know what I mean? Like, you represent so much more. For me personally, I just personally think of like, wow, I never would have imagined that, you know, the music that I would make or the things that I would say would touch people in these different spheres of influence. You know what I mean? And then it's one thing when people are like, man, I really like this song, or I really appreciate this song. It's another thing when your music is a soundtrack to people's lives. Like, you're living it. You know what I mean? You're really like trying to follow the Lord and trying to navigate mental, emotional, spiritual health in all these facets of your life. And there's a lot of tension and a lot of pressure. So one, I just want to thank you, man. I want to let you know how much I appreciate you. And I'm very grateful for what you represent, and your honesty and your transparency is very helpful. I guess the last thing I just want people to know, first of all, if you didn't know, Jeremy blessed me with his time. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about restoration. The book comes out October 13th. I Am Restored: How I Lost My Religion and Found My Faith. And man, you know, he's been so kind and gracious to share with us some of his restoration journey. What I'm like, last thing I'm just curious to know, and I'm sure everybody else out there will want to know as well, man, is you talked about the anxiety, you talked about you know, the tension and the stress weighing on you. How, like, as you're navigating all this stuff, you talked about, oh man, I'm working on my comeback, and I'm working out in the gym, and I'm thinking about this, and I got this going on. Like, how does your faith inform how you're navigating all this stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. And before I get into that, I just saw a comment like a minute ago, and the guy said, I almost committed suicide today. And I don't know if that was joking or not. I don't know if you're joking or not, but it honestly, when you talk about music, I'll Find You, which is one of the crazy songs, was like really, really powerful to a lot of people that I know. And so to the dude who left that comment, I don't know if you're for real or you're like, if you're actually going through something, I would definitely encourage you to look that song up. But, you know, going back to your question, yeah, I mean, I think, dude, I gotta, hold on, you gotta remind me of your question, because I was thinking about.
Oh yeah, no, that's good. I will tell that person, hey man, this conversation is not by accident. You're listening to this on purpose. That's how good God is. That if you were thinking about taking your life, he's like giving you another reason to know, like, you need to be here. No, I was just saying, how does your faith play into everything that you have going on? You know?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, one thing that I've been trying to do a little bit more of recently is this concept of listening to God. And I feel like when I pray or when I do my devotionals, like, I'm just praying the whole time. And I remember reading a book, and it was like, hey, if you're, you know, in the book, one of the books I read is called Two Chairs, and it was talking about, hey, when you come before God and you have a devotional, if you're talking the whole time, you can't ever listen. And so for me, like, that was a big reminder to me, is like, hey, as I try to navigate and make life's decisions, it's not just like I sit down with God and I just talk the whole time and then I'm like, all right, cool, you heard all that, all right, good, I'm gonna go about my day. It's not that. It's that you have to open yourself up. And again, that's why I think it's important to do things like Sabbath. It's important to, during your devotional, where you spend time where you're just quiet and you're not talking or praying or doing something, and you're letting God speak to you, and that often happens. I don't hear an audible voice, but sometimes he may give me a scripture, he may give me a conversation with a Christian friend, or he may give me one of my devotional emails, or something like that, or lyrics from a song, and like all these different things. I feel like they put convictions in my heart. And one of the things that one of my friends said that I absolutely love is God is a God of peace. He's not a God of confusion. So as you try to navigate your own life, as you try to make big time decisions, it's like if you're praying about it and you're letting God work through you, you will have peace about the decision that you make. And that is a huge part of it too. And that's something that, but if if you're not doing that and you're just making decisions without really seeking God's counsel, then don't expect the peace, and don't expect the things that come with really opening yourself up to listen to God. And so that's something that I would encourage everybody with.
The man is dropping gems, y'all. Dropping all of the gems. We all have to get to that place. It's like you got to come to the end of yourself or the end of the circumstance to realize, you know what, like God really, it really wasn't about me in this whole thing, and God is the only real sustainable like person that I can hold on to in the midst of all this stuff going on in my own life. How I've reached these highs and gone through all these issues and dealt with all the celebrity public figure stuff. For me, sometimes you get so wrapped up in doing the work. You're so busy doing work for God, you're not spending time with God. You're so busy doing work, just like checking boxes. You're not really thinking about, oh, how is this affecting people? Or is this like effective, or is this working? And I'm like, I've had moments where, yes, I know I'm like volunteering somewhere, or yes, I know I'm speaking somewhere, doing a show somewhere, but it's like I'm thinking more about, did I do a good job, or is this right, versus like, am I really helping people? And I'm wondering for you, what's that wrestle been like?
Growing up, my parents did so much for me, and they're amazing. And sometimes I would be like, Mom, I just want to sit down and spend time with you versus have you be doing something for me all the time. And she definitely, did that at times. And those were when I felt really connected. But I think that's the same thing with God is like, actually, dude, I was just thinking about this today, literally like an hour and a half after my workout. And I was like, thinking about like, okay, my job is to play basketball and I want to build God's kingdom, or I want to be, make this world a better place. But at the end of the day, like your occupation, is it that important? And I think about like a lot of the characters in the Bible, and you look at some of the disciples, you look at Paul, you look at even Jesus himself, like they had jobs, carpenter, fisherman, whatever. But like at the end of the day, because they opened their lives to let God do amazing things through their life, it was almost as if the occupation was a footnote. And it was like, they did amazing things. Oh yeah, and they were also one was a fisherman, one was a carpenter, one was this, one was that. And I think like for me, it's like, so when what does that mean? It's like, if I go through my whole day and all I'm thinking about is like, what can God do for me? What can God do for me? Like, how can God bless me? How can God make my training great? How can God make my next opportunity the one that I want? Like, that's even though like for me, I might be thinking like, oh, I want to do things for you, God, but at the end of the day, I'm still kind of missing the point. And I think the point is, it's not about what God can do for me. It's not about even always like the things I can do for God. Work. It's actually sometimes it's more just opening yourself to God in that relationship, and always challenging myself to really just be content in the relationship, like love the relationship. And I think when I do that, like the end result or the circumstances aren't as important. But the one thing that I can promise is, when I open myself up every single time to God in relationship, he does amazing things. And it's hardly ever what I anticipate. It's hardly ever what I'm even thinking about, but he does amazing things. But it starts from a place of like, hey, I'm not coming in and telling God what needs to happen. It's not like X, Y, Z. Like I need it to look like this, and this. Yeah. And so again, I think it's like, for sure, our job is to do things for God and things like that. But I think at the end of the day, and that goes into, that's why I love the theme. Like, dude, when I heard like whether it's your album or the book or even the thing, dude. I saw the plan on you version. Dude, that's tight, and I'm about to do that. Like for real, I'm not even like
Come on,
blowing
bro.
smoke, or I'm not saying like I'm actually gonna do that. That's the next one. Once I finish this next plan, is I'm gonna go do the restoration plan on a U version. But to me, it's like restoration is such a big word because in order to be restored, it almost forces you to stop, rest.
Mm.
It forces you to not be in a hurry, and it allows you to really delve into just the relationship with God, and that is what is going to be like that's going to be what the game changer is. And so, going back to your question, it's not always going to be like, oh, I need to do this and then fill my schedule packed, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, bro. You dropping gems, bro. When you writing a book, my goodness. The footnote, I'm like, oh, occupational footnote. That's so good, bro. Yeah, no, so here's one thing I personally dealt with. Like, for me to need to be restored, I had to be very honest, and I had to be honest with myself and honest with some historical stuff and some traumas in my own life. And I didn't ask for the position that I think I got put in, and oftentimes people build you up in order to tear you down, right? They lift you up so high, and they in a way they esteem you to a place and a position in their mind that you could never live up to. And I think for me, I even started to believe that I was this invincible individual that everyone else thought I was, And one of the things that I realized, which I write in the book, is I say, I found out, and it broke my heart, but it helped me. It helped me heal. I was more devoted to my devotion than I was more devoted to my devotion to God than I realized it wasn't about my devotion. It was about his devotion to me. Right. So I'm not devoted to God. I'm devoted to my devotion. It's like, look at what I have to do. I'm in this leadership position, and I've got to. And so when I fail, or when I drop the ball, or when I don't meet the standard that people want me to meet, it sent me down into a dark place. And I just wonder, like, how have you had to navigate that? Like, the restoration process for me in that was like just being honest about it. But I'm wondering, like, stateside, people talk about Linsanity, and they know who you are. But globally, you're a cultural icon. Or throughout Asia, like, that's a lot of weight to wear on your shoulders. You know what I mean? Like, if anybody doesn't know, if you like, it's chaos if this cat was walking down the street, in Asia, in different parts of Asia. But I'm just wondering, did you feel a sense of like responsibility or weight, or like, man, this is a burden? Or how did you feel? How did you navigate that?
Pulled over to the side of the road. I'm on my way. I've been training pretty hard and stuff, so just in between some stuff with my body and training and stuff. But yeah, how about you?
Oh man, I've been working on my jump shot. I'm trying to go to the league. You know what I mean? So that's been the biggest thing going on in my life, man. I do not know how to pin a thing, bro. I'm trying to tell you, like, it's cool. Don't worry about it, y'all. Y'all know where to get the book. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna try to pin it. I'm not.
You have to hold it down though. You gotta hold. I went through this last time. Remember what last time
I remember
did live and you were on there? I had the same problem. I think you have to exit out of the keyboard so that the keyboard doesn't show at all, and then you hold it down, and it'll allow you to pin the comment.
Bro,
it's not happening.
I'm not even gonna try. Fine. I'm not even gonna try. It's the equivalent of you trying to, I don't know, teach me how to run all the plays you've learned over the last 5 years. It's not. It's not gonna work, man. Oh man. So where are you at right now?
I'm in Northern California right now.
Okay. NorCal.
Yeah.
And you say you've been grinding, just working on your new strength and conditioning and the whole nine?
Yeah, just finished up the season in a CBA, and then just came back here, had a little bit of a a little bit of a vacation, rest up the mind and the body, and now I'm ready to go again.
That's what's up, bro.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I wanted to, not even take up your day like that, but just, man, I appreciate you for giving me your time, my guy, and
Anytime.
and wanted to just talk to you, man. Just like, obviously, I try to create an ecosystem for people who are struggling and just trying to find a place of hope in the midst of like chaos. And we're kind of like in a chaotic time right now, just in the world in general. But I do believe that, restoration is possible. That's why I wrote the book, I'm Restored. I do believe hope is possible, even in crazy circumstances. And I think about you, and some people know your story, some people don't know your story. Like, I can give like a brief summary of like, you had this, you come into the league, you have this incredible, you know, moment in time in your life where, it's almost like the dream, you're living the dream, and then that dream is interrupted with something different, and now you've got to go play, you've got to leave the NBA, you've got to play overseas, you've got to kind of figure out a whole new perspective on it all. And I'm just curious for you, like, what did you learn? Like, what did God teach you in this time? What is he teaching you if you're still learning, and what has that been looking like for you?
I mean, definitely within the concept of restoration, what I've been learning is that if I wanted to, because I think everything happens so fast, life happens so fast. So I'm always kind of thinking, all right, what's the next thing to do? What's the next objective? What's the next season? But one thing God has really taught me is that if I really want to go forward and be great going forward, I have to resolve what has happened in the past. And I think there's a concept of, I'm wired to just think and go forward for the next thing. But whenever there's brokenness, there is a need for restoration. And if you go through a lot of brokenness and you just push it off or try to sweep it under the rug, at a certain point in time, it's going to catch up to you. It's going to affect you. It's going to affect the people around you. And that's why I think, man, like, especially in 2020 and how crazy everything is, and every single person is like, we're all going through some level of brokenness right now. And if we don't focus on restoration, then like we will not be able to, we will in the short term be able to sweep it under the rug and try to figure it out. But at some point, it's not going to keep going. And that's what God taught me this past season is like, hey, all those disappointments, all those failures, all those things that you went through in your career that brought you to where you are today, you can't just put your head down and just keep thinking like, all right, well, I'm just going to outwork and I'm going to outsmart and I'm going to out problem solve. Like at some point I had to come face to face, and address it within myself and be like, what from the past do I need to address? And how do I how do I give God space to heal me emotionally so that I could be great physically? And so that's really what God has been teaching me, which is a humbling lesson because, I always pride myself on being, mentally strong and and that's, the MO of an athlete is like, man, we gotta be mentally strong. We gotta be men. We gotta be da-da-da-da. But at the end of the day, it's like, dude, we're human and we're so small. And so that's one of the things that God has really been teaching me.
That's good. Dropping gems on us, dropping gems. I was thinking too, bro. Like I was thinking about. So I was watching. I know you probably watch. You keeping up with the finals right now, and I was watching it, and I was like, I was thinking because everyone has so much to say. Like we sit and we watch that level of play, and we all have thoughts, right? Like everyone's like, oh man, so and so's inconsistent, or I can't believe he hasn't hit a shot, or why doesn't Jimmy score 40 tonight? And I'm wondering from your perspective, like you played at the highest level, like what is that like for like somebody who's watching this and somebody who just doesn't, they be watching the finals and just like what runs through a person's head? Like you're playing against some of the people you looked up to as a kid, or you're just like on this big stage, like. Is it nerves every night? Do you get used to it? Does it feel like, oh, I made it? Like what all goes through your mind on that kind of stage?
It's crazy. That's a great question because, I think everyone, at least right now, like, everyone's tuning in and it's like, oh man, like, Danny Green is so inconsistent, or like, why didn't the coaching staff think of this? And it's like, dude, these guys have spent so much time, more effort, and this isn't like for a lot of these players, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, you think about training for 20 years, and finally you have a moment that you probably think like, hey, I may never get this again. And again, it's like everyone from the outside is like comparing it to their local pickup game where it's like, oh, well, and it's like, no. This is like, not only is this what they've trained their whole lives for, this has like an impact on this. This is writing for their legacy forever. This is all the aftermath and the consequences of everything. Family pressures. If I don't do well here, it's embarrassing. What will it affect my next season's job? How will it affect my family, my livelihood? All these different pressures coming into play. And everybody on the outside is like, man, why can't he just hit the shot? It's like, dude, it's not that simple.
Wow.
I mean, there's just so much pressure. And I think one of the things that I have thought about is like, one is just to be less judgmental, because even for me as a fan, sometimes I'm like, man, like, just grab the ball, go get that rebound, or like I'll be thinking about different things, and it's like, man, it was never that easy. And I think you understand too, like, to be great, to get to like to be good, you could do that pretty fast. It requires work, but to be great and to be like the best and to stay there, it's a whole different ball game, man.
Whole nother ball game. That's what I was going to ask you too. Is like, because that's how I feel. I feel like, for what I do, I won the awards, I got the records, all those things. Like, everyone's idea of success, I got it, right? But it's like, for me, I felt like I was climbing a mountain, and then you get there, now you're fighting to stay there. You're fighting to, like, oh man. And then I realized in my own life that though I had accomplished all these things, it didn't stop the problems in life from happening. It wasn't like, oh, now everything is solved. Look, we made it to the top of the hill. And I'm just wondering, for you, like, kids dream of making it to the NBA. Like, that's literally their dream. You did that. How, like, is success everything is cracked up to be? Like, what would you want people to know about? Okay, I did make it this far. I was all over the news. I accomplished all these great feats. I was, you represent for your culture, like, you're an icon, you know what I mean? But I just what would you say, like, success, the highs and the lows of that for you were? Thank you for giving me a little bit of your time, man. Sincerely grateful. The book, I Am Restored, How I Lost My Religion and Found My Faith, comes out October 13th. Everywhere you can go pre-order it at lecrae.com. Man, I'm extremely grateful, proud of my man Jeremy Lin. Thank you for the time. I can't pen the book because I don't know how to pen, but I'll figure it out. I'm gonna go watch a YouTube video to make sure I learn how to do it. I feel like, yo, man, I know how to do other stuff. I don't know how to pen comments. But thank you, bro. I appreciate everything, man.
Anytime. I can't wait.
Man. Much love to you.
All right, love you too. Later.